What if the moment you closed your eyes to survive ended up binding your life to a man you had never met? The wagon train had been crawling west for 3 long weeks when Sarah McKenna first saw the Apache warriors on the ridge. They stood like shadows carved from stone, their silhouettes sharp against the burning Arizona sky. The women around her gasped. Children cried. Men cursed under their breath. But Sarah only tightened her grip on the reins and kept her eyes forward. Fear was a luxury she could no longer afford. The land stretched before them in endless waves of gold and rust. Towering red rocks rose from the earth like ancient giants. The October sun burned without mercy, turning the canvas wagon tops into ovens and cracking even the strongest travelers' lips. Sarah's black morning dress clung to her back, heavy with sweat. She still wore it for Thomas, even though the sharp ache of losing him had softened into a dull echo. He had died of fever back in Missouri, and the neighbors who once promised help had vanished when she needed them most. Now she was alone, heading toward California, hoping to find her sister and a new start. "Mrs. McKenna," Samuel Morrison called from the wagon ahead. "You'd best keep close. Those savages have been tracking us." Sarah nodded without responding. She'd learned that men like Morrison liked to warn, but never help. The attack came at dusk, but not from the Apaches. Sarah had just bent to gather buffalo chips for the evening fire when gunshots cracked the air. The sound tore through the quiet like lightning. She dropped behind a wagon wheel as riders thundered down from a narrow canyon. Bandits. White men with military precision and cruel eyes. They fired first at the men, then at the supply wagons. Screams filled the air. Horses panicked. Children wailed. Someone shouted for everyone to get down. A bullet shattered the wood above Sarah's head. Morrison fell with a cry, and his wife stood frozen as a bandit charged toward her. Without thinking, Sarah grabbed a cast-iron skillet and swung it as hard as she could. The heavy metal cracked against the man's temple, and he dropped instantly. She dragged Mrs. Morrison to safety, her heart hammering in her chest. Then the Apaches came. They swept down from the ridge like a storm breaking loose. Their cries split the air. Their horses moved like wind. They struck the bandits with swift, deadly force. Within minutes, the white raiders scattered, fleeing back into the canyon. Silence fell over the broken camp. The Apache warriors circled slowly, watching the survivors. Their leader, marked by eagle feathers, rode forward. His eyes were unreadable, sharp as flint. He gave an order in his language, and the warriors turned away just as swiftly as they had arrived. They vanished into the rising darkness. When it was over, 7 men were dead, 12 wounded. 3 wagons burned to ash. And every surviving settler looked at Sarah with something close to fear. "She fought like a man," someone whispered. "It ain't natural." "She's cursed," another muttered. "Bad luck follows her." By morning, their decision was made. They left her behind. Morrison couldn't meet her eyes as he said it. "It's nothing personal, Mrs. McKenna, but the others. They don't want you bringing more trouble." She watched the wagons roll away until the dust swallowed them. For days, she tended the wounded left with her. One by one, they died. By the 4th day, she was alone. Her water was low, her strength fading. She whispered a prayer as the desert wind rose around her. On the 5th day, the sandstorm came. A brown wall rolled across the desert, swallowing the sun, choking the world. Sarah wrapped her face in torn cloth and crouched behind an overturned wagon. The sand tore at her skin and filled her lungs. She didn't hear the horse approach. One moment she was alone. The next, a tall figure loomed above her. A warrior, broad-shouldered, wrapped in layers that deflected the sand. His face was stern, painted by storm and sun. Through burning eyes, she saw he was Apache. He extended his hand. Sarah froze. Every warning she'd ever heard echoed in her head. These men were dangerous, wild, merciless. But the storm was killing her, and death by Apache suddenly didn't seem worse than death by sand. She reached up, His hand closed around hers, strong and warm, and he lifted her as easily as if she weighed nothing. He pulled her onto his horse, settling her in front of him, his arm wrapped around her waist, shielding her from the storm. His chest was solid against her back, his breath warm on her hair. He smelled of leather, smoke, and something wild she couldn't name. The horse moved steadily through the storm. Sarah felt the world fade, the terror easing under the strange safety of his hold. Her head dropped back against his shoulder. Exhaustion pulled her down. Her last thought before sleep overtook her was simple and terrifying. She was alive only because she rested against the chest of an Apache warrior, a man whose people claimed her the moment she closed her eyes. She didn't know that in his culture, a woman who slept in a warrior's arms became bound to him by ancient law. But by the time she woke, it would already be too late. Sarah woke to voices arguing in a language she didn't know. The words rose and fell like wind cutting through canyon walls. She kept her eyes closed at first, trying to understand where she was. She lay on soft hides near a warm fire. The air smelled of smoke, leather, and herbs. Her body felt stiff, heavy, and strangely rested. She opened her eyes. She was inside a large Apache dwelling, made of bent saplings and hide. Firelight flickered across painted faces and watchful eyes. Several women sat around the fire, some young, some old. Their expressions ranged from curiosity to cold suspicion. The oldest woman spoke in rough English. "You wake. Good. Now we decide." "Decide what?" Sarah rasped. A younger woman handed her a gourd of water. Sarah drank greedily, her throat burning with relief. "Whether you live," the elder said calmly, "or die." The flap opened, men entered, and there he was, the warrior who had saved her from the storm. He moved like a man used to command, quiet strength in every step. In the firelight she saw him fully, sharp cheekbones, bronze skin marked with old scars, dark eyes that held more thought than he showed. He looked around the circle, then at her. Behind him came other warriors and an old chief, whose presence made the rest fall silent. The chief spoke a long string of Apache. His tone was firm, grave. The warriors answered with anger, some gesturing towards Sarah. She heard the name Standing Wolf spoken again and again. Her rescuer stood still, watching, waiting. The elder woman, the one who had spoken English, stepped closer. "I am called Sage Mother," she said. "Chief Naichi says you bring trouble. White soldiers may come. Some say kill you now and leave your body for them to find. Others say the storm was a sign. The spirits sent Standing Wolf to you." Sarah's eyes widened. "I didn't ask him to save me. I was dying. He could have left me." Sage Mother's lips twitched with something like amusement. "Yes, he could have, but he brought you here." "I didn't know." "You slept," Sage Mother interrupted. "In his arms." Some of the women giggled until the elders silenced them. Sarah's confusion grew. "I was unconscious. That's not. I didn't choose." The elder's tone became gentle but unyielding. "Our law is old, older than these mountains. A woman who sleeps in a warrior's arms through the night, trusting him with her life while she dreams, becomes his." Sarah stared at her in disbelief. "That's not possible." "It is law." She turned to Standing Wolf, hoping he would deny it, but his face was unreadable, hard to read, yet not unkind. He spoke then, low and steady. Sage Mother translated. "He says he meant only to save your life. He did not expect you to sleep, but the law is the law." Sarah shot to her feet, heart pounding. "You can't own me. You can't make me his wife because I fell asleep." The circle of women recoiled. Some looked offended, others frightened. Sage Mother raised a hand. "You have choice." "What choice?" Sarah demanded. The elder chief stepped forward. His voice carried weight. Sage Mother translated. "You may accept what happened. Become Standing Wolf's wife. Live as Apache." Sarah's stomach tightened. "Or," Sage Mother continued, "you may take the trial of refusal." "What is that?" 7 days, Sage Mother said, alone in the desert, without help, without protection. If you survive, you are free. If Standing Wolf finds you before sunset on the 7th day, you return as his wife." Sarah froze. She had barely survived 5 days with a wagon. Surviving 7 alone felt impossible. "And if I refuse both?" she whispered. Sage Mother's gaze turned cold. "Then you are a woman without protection in a camp of warriors." The meaning was clear. Sarah's knees trembled. "Can I think about it?" Quote, "You have until sunrise." The circle broke apart. Most left the dwelling, leaving only Sage Mother and Standing Wolf. He stayed near the entrance, arms crossed, guarding or watching. Sarah's mind raced, fear mixed with anger and disbelief. "How old is this law?" she finally whispered. "Before memory," Sage Mother said. "Before even our grandfathers." Sarah swallowed hard. Standing Wolf didn't mean marriage. "No man chooses for the spirits," the elder replied. "Storm took you. His arms saved you. That is bond." The night stretched long. Sarah couldn't sleep. Sage Mother dozed lightly, always half awake. Standing Wolf stayed outside the door the entire night, silent and unmoving. "Tell me about the trial," Sarah finally whispered into the darkness. "It tests body and spirit," Sage Mother answered. "Desert burns in day, freezes in night, no water but what you find. No food but what desert gives. No one survives. Some," she said quietly, "not many. No woman in my lifetime." Sarah felt a tremor of fear crawl up her spine. "Standing Wolf will track me?" "He is best tracker in the band. When he hunts, nothing escapes." Sarah closed her eyes. "What kind of man is he?" she asked. For a long time, Sage Mother didn't answer. Then she spoke. "Good man. Honored warrior. Lost his wife and child 3 summers past. Since then, he stands alone. Does not laugh. Does not look at women. His heart carries wounds." Sarah looked toward the silhouette of Standing Wolf near the doorway. "Why did he save me?" she whispered. Sage Mother shrugged. "Ask him when you are his wife." Before Sarah could respond, dawn light crept through the hide walls. Chief Nai Chi returned with the warriors. The entire band gathered, watching her. Sage Mother translated the single word spoken by the chief: choose. Sarah felt every eye on her. Women, children, warriors, Standing Wolf. She took a breath. "I choose the trial." A ripple of surprise moved through the crowd. Sage Mother nodded. Warriors stepped forward with a knife, a small water gourd, and nothing else. The rules were repeated. 7 days, no help, no leaving the valley. If Standing Wolf found her first, she belonged to him. Sarah took the gourd, took the knife. Standing Wolf spoke a few quiet words. Sage Mother translated. "He says he will not begin tracking until sunrise tomorrow, to give you a fair chance." Sarah nodded, throat tight. She walked into the desert. She didn't look back. But as she disappeared into the golden heat, she heard the whispers behind her. How long will she last? 2 days. 3, maybe. She is brave, someone said quietly, or foolish. Sarah kept walking. She would survive. She had to, because the alternative, a life bound to a warrior she didn't choose, felt impossible. But the desert had its own plans. Sarah lasted 3 days. Not 7. Not even close. On the first day, she walked hard, pushing herself across burning sand, over ridges of rock, through thorny brush that tore at her dress and skin. She drank small sips from the gourd, saving every drop. She kept moving, sure that she could make distance before Standing Wolf began tracking. On the second day, her hope began to slip. The sun was a hammer on her head. Her lips cracked and bled. She found no water, no shade, nothing to save her strength. Her legs trembled with each step, and her knife felt heavier with every hour. The desert was not a place for stubborn dreams. By the morning of the 3rd day, her body had reached its limit. When the dizziness came, it hit fast. The horizon blurred. The sky spun. She stumbled, fell to her knees, tried to rise, and couldn't. She pressed her hands to the burning earth, and tears she didn't want to shed fell onto the sand. "I can't," she whispered. The moment the words left her, she knew it was over. But the desert wasn't finished with her. The heat shimmered. The air thickened. She blinked at a shape forming through the light. A figure, tall, silent, moving with steady purpose. Standing Wolf. He walked toward her, as if drawn by an invisible line that connected them. His shadow fell across her just as she collapsed. He caught her before she hit the ground. Sarah felt herself lifted, held against a chest she remembered from the storm, the same steady heartbeat, the same scent of leather and warmth. Her body gave up the last bit of fight she had left. Her fingers curled weakly into his shirt. "You found me," she whispered. His voice was low, almost rough. "You did not hide well. I tried." "You did." He carried her back to camp, moving with a calm that made the desert feel less cruel. She drifted between faint and waking, feeling the safety she had resisted for so long settle into her bones. When she opened her eyes fully, she was inside his dwelling. Soft hides beneath her, cool water touching her lips. Sage Mother watching from the fire with a knowing expression. "She lives," the elder said. "Good. Now the binding can begin." Sarah tried to sit up. "I didn't agree." "You chose the trial," Sage Mother said. "You did not finish it, so the spirits chose for you." Standing Wolf watched her quietly, his dark eyes unreadable. He knelt beside her, steady and patient, not forcing anything on her. "You are my wife now," he said gently. Sarah's breath caught, not because of the words, but because of the tone. There was no pride in his voice, no victory, no ownership, only acceptance, only truth. "I didn't want this," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I didn't want to be forced." "You were not forced," he said. "You fought. You tried to be free. That is your heart. I honor that. You don't even know me. I know enough." Her pulse thudded hard in her chest. "And what happens now?" "You live," he said simply. "You heal. You find your place. If you hate me, I will sleep outside. If you stay silent, I will give you space. If you fight, I will listen. I will not harm you." Sarah blinked. She had expected a monster, a captor, a man who would treat her like property. Instead, she had a warrior who treated her like a choice she had not yet made. Sage Mother approached with a small clay bowl. Inside was a mixture of herbs and water. "This marks your joining," she said, "not just to Standing Wolf, to all of us." Sarah swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed to run, but she had tried that. She had failed. And now, looking into Standing Wolf's steady eyes, she felt something new rising inside her. Not fear, not resignation, something warmer, something dangerous. Trust. He took the bowl and held it out to her. "You drink first," he said, "or not at all. It is your choice." Her hand trembled as she reached for it. The liquid tasted earthy, sharp. She swallowed. He drank after. The women murmured approval. Sage Mother placed painted beads in Sarah's palm. "These show your new path." Standing Wolf tied the beads into a thin leather cord. He moved behind her, fastening it gently around her neck. His fingers brushed her skin once, softly. She felt the warmth of his touch long after he stepped back. That night, as the camp settled, as fires burned low and coyotes cried in the distance, he sat near the doorway of the dwelling, not beside her, not touching her, just close enough that she knew she was not alone. "Why me?" she asked finally. He looked at her for a long moment. "In the storm, you trusted me without knowing my name," he said softly. "You gave your life into my arms. That is a bond the spirits see. I was dying." "Yes," he said, "and still you slept against my heart." Her breath caught. Heat rose in her cheeks. He continued, his voice quiet. "You say you did not choose this, but the spirits say you did. When you closed your eyes against my chest, you chose. When you let me hold you, you chose. And when you took my hand in the desert, you chose again." Sarah didn't know what to say. He rose, walked to the entrance, then paused. "You are my wife," he said, "but you are not my prisoner. I will wait for you." Wait for what? For the day you choose me back. He stepped outside, leaving her with her racing heartbeat and a truth she could no longer deny. The desert had taken everything from her, but Standing Wolf, he might give her something back, something she never thought she'd feel again. Safety, belonging, a future. She lay down on the soft hides, staring into the fire. For the first time since the wagons left her behind, she didn't feel alone. For the first time, she wondered if fate had brought her here not to break her, but to begin something new.